Early bird ticket pre-sales for the Conference of Masculine Excellence ends tomorrow. The first 50 attendees get their rooms covered for the entire event. Link in description.
Hi, my name is George Bruno. The year is 2021, and I'm talking with Donovan Sharpe, founder of the Conference of Masculine Excellence. Hi there.
I was just saying before we started rolling, we've done this now 3 times.
Yes, we have.
And the circumstances are a little bit different this time around.
Yeah.
Man, a little bit different. So, but it's good to be here. It's good to see you again, man.
Excellent. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
It is. You're a director now of the conference, not just a participant.
Yeah.
What's it like being a director and kind of being the fall guy? You are massively responsible for everything at this conference. It's a big responsibility, isn't it?
It is, man. And I guess what's different is that there's a lot more to do. Now I'm in charge of the itinerary. I got to book people's plane ticket. Well, Devin did most of the booking of the plane tickets and the hotel stuff, but you know, all of the administrative stuff I'm leaving to her. But as far as the ideas, the inception of ideas, what we're going to do, who's going to talk, what they're going to talk about, who we're going to allow to speak, who we're going to allow to attend, all of these things are. Listen, I have great respect for people who put on these kinds of events because they're not easy. One thing that I've learned, and for the next time, I'm definitely going to have to involve more people in the planning process. Because this has been a massive undertaking. But I will say this: it's been a lot of fun. Even though you know I'm not really getting that much sleep now, it's still a lot of fun in the planning process. And now that we're actually, we're here doing the marketing, the shooting the marketing stuff. It's incredible. Like, even I never take anything for granted. We're down there, doing different takes and shoots and photos and all this other kind of stuff. I remember when I got the idea, and to see it now materialize, it's amazing, man. I cannot believe I've actually reached this point. It's incredible.
What's the hardest thing about putting together a conference?
Oh my goodness. My goodness, that is a very good question. I think the hardest part is saying no to certain people. There were certain individuals who wanted to speak at the conference, and because, they don't really align with our point of view over here on this side of the web. Good friends of mine, but they just don't line up with what we're talking about. No problem. That's probably the second hardest part. The very hardest part is saying yes to certain people, inviting certain people, and then circumstances change, and then you have to have a very difficult conversation and say, hey, look, because XYZ happened, I can't swim with you on this one.
Yeah.
And so, nobody wants to have those difficult conversations. Nobody likes confrontation, but I'm not afraid of it. And so, listen, man, I've gained some friends and I've lost some too. So that's probably part of the collateral damage. But yeah, the very toughest part of putting this thing together is having a list of people. And, in the beginning, you have an idea in terms of who and what people are, but a lot of time goes by, and people change. But yeah, those difficult conversations, that's easily the toughest part of having to do something like this, for sure.
How do you balance all the speakers? Like, you can't have, or anyways, in my mind, I think you can't have all dating coach kind of guys.
Right.
You can't have all MGTOW kind of guys. How do you find a balance between red pill guys, MGTOW guys, self-help guys, general men's education guys? How do you create a balanced conference?
For me, the most important, the very, very most important element of doing something like this is building and cultivating relationships. Back in the fall of 2020, I started my one-on-one with Donovan Sharpe series. I would fly guys in. We would do 1.5, 2 hour show. After the show, we'd go and we'd have dinner. We talk about some things just so I can get sort of an idea in terms of who you are, because a lot of content creators have known each other for years. They've never met each other in person in the flesh. And it's very easy to build relationships like that, but you never really know someone until you sit across from them and you break bread. You're talking about your life, what happens off the camera. You're talking about your, some guys have families. When you really, really get to know someone, you really kind of start to care about them, and they also start to care about you. And every person that I have asked to do this has said 100% yes, because I built and cultivated that relationship.
Sure.
That's the most important part. But getting to circle back to what you asked me, how do I balance that? Well, again, it's relationships, and I don't discriminate. I'm friends with Joker. He is a MGTOW. Coach Greg Adams is a MGTOW. Then I'm friends with guys like Rollo Tomasi. He's obviously a red pill guy. I'm friends with you. You're a red pill guy. So when I started to put together my roster, I didn't have to say, who do I have to make friends with that's going to balance the scale? I'm very, very fortunate. I've been around long enough, and I'm not the guy who's going to try to be everything to everybody. I've never really been that way. But I'm very fortunate to have been given access to a plethora of people from all walks of life, from one end of the spectrum to the other. So when I decided to put this thing together, they said, "Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's absolutely do it." And we have guys from Joker and Coach Greg Adams all the way to Donovan Sharpe, because I'm as far over that way as humanly possible. Neither one of them hesitated. So I feel fortunate that I was able to cultivate those relationships and have it. And it's a very balanced lineup, man, because we got guys talking about finance. We got guys talking about fitness. We got guys talking about going their own way. We got guys here talking about their families. I mean, everything you can imagine in terms of the complete cycle of masculinity is going to be covered. I can't really think of any other element that can be covered. I'm sure somebody could probably think of one, but I guess that'll be for next time. But yeah, that's how I was able to do it, man, was relationships.
There will be people who see this conversation that we have who never heard the phrase red pill or MGTOW. Explain that for the audience.
Yeah, red pill is sort of a play on words with the movie The Matrix back in 1999. Thomas Anderson, aka Neo. I think I forget what happens is he gets kidnapped or whatever the case may be, and they take him. No, he goes into the thingy, takes the red pill. So basically, taking the red pill is having the veneer lifted over your eyes, right? So this is when Thomas Anderson becomes Neo. He now sees the world for what it really is. He's not really a human being. He's just a battery powering these, futuristic machines. The red pill community teaches men that, hey, you've been lied to growing up. Our mothers and fathers told us, hey, if you get a good job, if you're respectful, if you go to college, if you treat women nicely, you're going to meet a special girl, you're going to fall in love, you're going to have a bunch of kids, you're going to live happily ever after. This doesn't happen with most people. And even with the ones that it does, they're in a miserable frickin' relationship. So the red pill is basically opening your eyes. Women are not made of sugar, spice, and everything nice. Sometimes you do have to be kind of an asshole to be successful with women. As sad as that is, that's the reality. MGTOW falls under the umbrella of red pill, but MGTOW guys tend to be a little bit more risk averse. Red pill guys tend to be a little bit more risk tolerant. So MGTOW guys and red pill guys, we both understand the truth about the dating market here in the 21st century. But red pill guys tend to take an offensive approach to women and dating, and MGTOW guys tend to take a defensive approach to dating. This doesn't mean that MGTOWs are incels. This doesn't mean that MGTOWs are not trying to sleep with girls. They tend to focus a lot less on that. Red pill guys, hey man, listen, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna chase women, but that's not what we're gonna make our lives about. So again, it's risk tolerance, red pill guys versus risk aversion. And I'll tell you this, Coach Greg Adams, I didn't know he was a MGTOW until somebody told me. And he said to me on the air, he's like, well, Donovan, you were married. He said, Donovan, you've never been married. He didn't know this. He said, you've never been married, so you don't know. That's when it hit me. Now, I have been married, but my divorce cost me $12. So I don't have those scars. I don't owe child support. I'm not paying alimony. My marriage lasted 7 years. We were broke when we got divorced. Easy peasy. This is why I'm more risk tolerant, right? This is why I live with a woman now. Even though there are risks involved, I'm a lot more risk tolerant because I wasn't divorce raped. I wasn't taken through the divorce mill. Coach Greg Adams has. This explains why he takes a more defensive approach to this, and I take a more offensive approach. So that's really the main difference between the two.
I did a video not too long ago titled, Everything You Learned About Everything Was Wrong. So it reminds me, everything we learned about politics, wrong. Yeah. Everything we learned about education and how it can provide a comfortable, secure future, that's wrong. Everything totally we learned about women as men was wrong. Everything we learned about nutrition is wrong. Yeah. I remember when the food pyramid was meat was the biggest part of the meal, and then they inverted it, And they said it
Yes.
should be the smallest part. So I've lived through a lot of interesting changes. Let me ask you this. How are women disillusioned? How have women been conned by society, by Disney? If everything that we learned is wrong as men, does that door swing in the other direction with women?
You know, it's a very good question. It does swing in the other direction with women, but with women, it takes them a lot longer to really figure out that they were lied to. And I'll put it to you this way. There is always a price to be paid to become a man or a woman in terms of reality. Men, we always have to pay the price. So here's what I mean. 18-year-old guy, he's getting ready to pay that price. 18-year-old guy is useless to society. He's skinny. He doesn't have any facial hair. Didn't know anything about anything. He's going to have to fight a lot of battles in his 20s if he does the right thing. If he keeps his body right, if he lifts weights, if he gets a good job, if he saves his money, then when he hits in his 30s, then he can start to reap the benefits of the price that he paid. That is really kind of his rite of passage. Girls don't have to go through a rite of passage, and that's okay because they're females. There is no rite of passage for females. When females are 18, they are ready-made to have whatever they want. And I'll put it to you like this. In terms of the burden of performance, the burden of performance is all on men. And the reason why is because we're equipped for that. Women are not equipped for the burden of performance. This is why the dating market is a shit show. We got women out here thinking they can have a career and a husband and kids and live happily. No, it doesn't work that way. You cannot serve two gods. But here is where women figure it out. Men figure out very quickly the reality of the dating market because they get rejected all the time. Women, they get to sleep around in their 20s. Then when they hit 37 years old, they say to themselves, well, where have all the good men gone? They double down, then they turn 42 and they're like, you know what? I think I was lied to. And it wasn't just Disney that led women and a lot of men astray. It was literally Cosmopolitan magazine. I forgot what the woman's name was. Sue Ellen Browder, I think. Don't quote me on that. She has done videos back in 2020 and in 2021. They made up stories about women who were happy sleeping around with their careers. And yeah, I'm 55 and I never had, and I've never been more satisfied. These were made up stories. And so that was propaganda. Well, Disney does the same thing. So the door swings both ways in this regard. Guys sort of get zeroed out, as Rollo Tomasi likes to call it. It usually happens to them early because they end up marrying the first pretty girl that pays attention to them. She cheats on him. Now he's got 2 kids and he's paying alimony and child support. Women get to have their fun, but they don't pay until later. They have the opportunity to not have to pay. Keep it on the road. At 18 years old, find a high-value guy, get married. They never have to go through those battles. Men, we have to go through those battles. Women don't have to go through those battles if they do it right. But everybody's fighting battles. So yeah, the door swings both ways. It hits us early, and it hits girls a lot late, but at some point, everybody understands the truth.
Yeah. Are men and women supposed to be together?
Yes. Yeah. Men and women are supposed to be together. There are some factions, Blackpill guys, they just want to see the world burn. But if I'm being honest, man, I'm Mr. Captain Red Pill, but men and women are better together. Right now there's a battle of the sexes and it's a shit show. Like, things could not be worse between men and women, and it shows. Birth rates are down, marriage is down. Men don't trust women, women don't trust men, but we still want each other. We're playing under these faulty rules. Men have these faulty tools that we've been taught since birth, and we wonder why things are the way they are. When the greatest generation, I guess the 1950s and 60s, this is when America thrived. Then first wave feminism came in, and that was the beginning of the end. So yeah, men and women need each other. Men are not better than women. Women are not better than men. However, men are better at certain things than women are, and women are better at certain things than men are. It's almost like the yin and the yang. Men bring certain things to the table that women generally cannot, and vice versa. Men and women tend to complete each other with regards to the nuclear family. Yes, there are some men out here who are just going to be players for life. There are females out here who really don't need to be married, but those are the statistical anomalies. The problem is that every woman thinks that they can be a party girl and then settle down in their 30s and have kids, and they can't figure out, I married Brad or whoever, but why am I not happy? Why do I have a drinking problem? Why am I taking prescription, painkillers to help me go to sleep at night. It's because they're not happy. It's you cannot serve two gods. So yeah, the answer to that question is yes, but we have to get together at the right times. We need each other for sure.
I've heard Greg Adams say to invest in pet food companies.
Yes.
Explain that for the audience.
Well, investing in pet food companies, the reason he says invest in pet food companies, very wise advice, is because we got a lot of women who are going to end up as spinsters. Okay, they might have a couple of kids, they may have been married once or twice, but eventually they are going to end up alone. Women are not designed to be alone. And so what do? They go and buy cats. They go and buy dogs. But that's why we have the, I'm going to become a cat lady. Invest in pet food companies and invest in boxed wine companies, and you'll be an instant millionaire.
I love that.
That's what lonely women do. They drink wine. They have their pets, and most of the time it's cats. There's no such thing as becoming a dog lady. You want to know why? Because dogs require work.
Yeah.
Right. The reason why there's a cat, because cats are easy. All you have to do is clean out the litter box. You don't even have to do that anymore. We got a litter robot. Clean out the box, clean up the litter box, and feed them. You don't have to take them outside or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you never heard of a crazy dog lady.
Nope.
But always a crazy
No,
cat
dogs
lady.
require actual work.
Yeah.
So no, women are not going to do that.
Yeah. Let's pivot for a second. What is the goal of the Conference of Masculine Excellence?
Yeah, the goal is to reunite the men's community. I remember when I first started writing for Return of Kings back in 2014. Back in 2014, 2015, and 2016, those were the golden years. We as men, dude, we were galvanized, we were united. And dude, every other week there was some, feminist, Jezebel.com, the Huffington Post. We got to shut down Return of Kings. We got all the smoke from it was always women coming after us. I don't know when exactly it happened, but little by little, we started getting friendly fire. All of a sudden, it really seemed like overnight, all of a sudden, our biggest detractors were no longer women. Our biggest detractors were other men. Okay, so we kind of sort of weathered that storm, but we put those guys in their place. Those guys still come after us they came after us every once in a while, but by and large, they tended to die down. Then it escalated to another level. Then we had other red pill content creators now coming after, it's almost cannibalization. Now we have guys creating channels specifically to go after us. And here's the thing. I would submit this to you. And this is why you see these Blackpill channels popping up all over the place. The YouTube algorithm favors content that goes against ours, okay? And listen, Blackpill guys, whoever our detractors are, there are a lot of things. They're not stupid. And so I think subconsciously they think to themselves, well, the red pill sector is kind of saturated. How can I build a big following? Oh, I know. I'll expose red pill content creators. I'll start a black pill channel. Those channels get a lot of views very quickly because the YouTube algorithm favors that. Whether these guys really believe what they're saying or not, I'll never know. To me, a lot of these guys, it's a business decision. There are guys who are truly envious of us, who come after us just because they are envious of us. They use all kinds of excuses like we're grifters, and that's a bunch of fucking bullshit because I've been in this community for almost 7 years. I don't know where I'm grifting from. He's a grifter, he's a hustler, he's this, he's that. These guys are just mad. And the more attention we give them, the less we make ourselves look. And so we started ignoring them, and they've ratcheted up the heat. And now we have larger content creators who have literally turned coat, and now they are directly in opposition with us, and now building alliances with Blackpill guys. And so what the CME aims to do, it aims to sort of not draw a line in the sand, but this is really going to show us who's with us and who's against us. Anybody, when I say, listen, man, we got to stop all this infighting. If anybody says, yeah, but, okay, you're the fuck up out of here because you missed the point. We get a lot of guys say, well, you need to debate this guy. You need to debate that guy. That guy believes what I believe. The only reason why you want us to debate is because you want that red meat. You want to see the drama. You want to see the fighting. I don't want anything to do with anybody who's interested in fighting or, listen, we're going to have our disagreements. That's what this is for. But what the CME aims to do is re-galvanize this men's community so that we're not the laughing stock. And at some point, the guys who are trying to come after us, eventually they're going to be looked at as a joke, and no one's really going to remember those guys. Yeah, they'll build their little followings, but we're not going to hear anything about them because we're too busy over here trying to do this. So that's what the CME aims to do. The CME aims to sort of reunite men. If you're about us uniting, great. If you're not, that's great too. Just, it is what it is. We're not going to have anything to do with those guys.
What is Blackpill? You mentioned that a couple times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who are thinking, Blackpill?
Yeah.
There's a lot of pills being mentioned here. Explain Blackpill.
Yeah, Blackpill is, well, from what I understand, Blackpill is in direct opposition of the red pill. Blackpill doesn't, it's kind of like they're hopeless. You know what? I'm throwing my hands up. I want to see the world. And a lot of people who call themselves MGTOW are really Blackpill. Blackpill guys are hopeless. They don't tell people stay away from women, or they don't tell people, they don't preach self-improvement. They just say, hey, listen, man, women are trash, and anybody who says otherwise should be taken down. These guys over here are pickup artists, they're frauds. We're going to do everything we can to take those guys down. Blackpill guys, they're not on anybody's side. They want to see the male sector burn. They want to see the female sector burn. They just want to see chaos. That's literally what Blackpill is.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the biggest threat to men today?
Men. Yeah, it's men. Like I said, our biggest threat used to be feminists, but the biggest threat to red pill aware men are, well, second in line is blue pill men, because there's nothing more dangerous to a red pill aware guy than a blue pill friend of his. But the most dangerous thing to us are men in our ranks who are no longer in our ranks. That's our biggest threat. And this is what this conference aims to do, is to neutralize that threat. That to me is the bottom line. And what makes them such a big threat is because they know what they know. It's not an ideology. They know what our belief system is. And so they take our belief system and they take like the propaganda approach. They trickle in a little bit of truth, and just to give themselves enough credibility to slide in the bullshit. And men who are lazy and weak-minded, who could just go and do the research on whatever it is that they're talking about, men who just, are predisposed to just, heading towards the drama, head towards the fire, those guys are going to end up getting lost. And these black pill guys, they think they're doing guys a favor. They're not doing anybody any favors, man. They're not keeping guys from putting a gun in their mouth. They're not giving guys hope by telling them, hey, you know what? Yeah, the dating market is kind of a shit show, but it can be less of a shit show if you do X, Y, Z. No, it's hopeless. Get out now. Enjoy, don't even enjoy the decline. Listen, we need to flag this guy. We need to flag that guy. That's the biggest threat, man.
What gives men hope?
Oh, boy. That is a very good question. What gives men hope? Man, oh man. It's got to be guys like us, man, because there are a lot of men out there who have no idea that we exist. They have no idea that this community exists. And what gives them hope is guys like us showing them, hey, you know what? We've been through all the breakups. A lot of guys have been through divorce. We got guys from all walks of life. We all have our scars, but through it all, we still made it, and we're still thriving, and we're living lives of dominance. And I tell people all the time, dude, most guys know my story. I was Captain Simp, man. Dude, I was renting apartments for women and all this other kind of stuff. And if I could make it out of that to build what I built, then anybody can. And that's what I want to show. That's what gives guys hope. What gives guys hope is seeing guys who are where they want to be, who was where they used to be, right? A guy's like, man, my girlfriend just left me, or I just got divorced. They find a channel or a blog. Like, you know what? That guy got divorce raped, and that guy had his girlfriend cheat on him, but look at him now. That's what gives guys hope. And a lot of guys are young. A lot of guys are experienced this at 22, 23 years old. Dude, I didn't find the red pill till I was 32. That was 11 years ago, and my life kicks ass now. So, hell, man, if I could find it at such an old age, quote unquote, a lot of these guys, man, that's what gives them hope, is seeing someone who is where they used to be is where they are now. So, and that's my true hope, is that we can catch that guy.
Who is the biggest surprise out of all your speakers? Who's the one that surprisingly impressed you the most?
Wow, that is the one that
that's a hard question, because it's like
is.
trying to choose what child of yours do you like the most, right?
I gotta say Aaron Clary. Aaron is, dude, he is one of the smartest people I know, man. And he blows me away. This guy has written, I don't know, 5 or 6 books. He's a funny guy, and he's a wizard with money.
He is funny.
He is, dude. He's freaking hilarious, and he lives a life we all want to live. This guy's building houses. He's going a motorcycle route. He can do whatever he wants, man. He is the guy, and I've never said this to anybody. I don't think I've ever said it to him. I am the most impressed with Aaron Clarey. He is by far. I think that, and this obviously isn't to slight anybody, but Aaron Clarey, when I really got to know him, he is the guy that surprised me the most. When I decided to do the CME, he was 100% the very first guy on my list. I said, I've got to get that guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent some time with him today, and he is not knee-slapping funny like a comedian. You listen to him, and then you think, and then it hits you. It's like a delayed reaction, and I'm like, that is a great sense of humor.
Yes, yeah. He's really smart. And he, and you know, the reason why he is, the reason, and he's lived up, I mean, he worked armed security, he did ballroom dancing, he's done, I mean, it's insane, man. He's like Better Bachelor with hair, is really what he is. Better Bachelor with hair with an economics degree.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's one of the most impressive people I've ever met in my life. So I'm glad I was able to secure him for sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. What is your hope for CME in the future?
Well, my hope for CME in the future, I'd like to do these twice a year. I'd like to do one in the spring and one in the fall. My hope for CME is that we become the men's summit, right? In 2 to 3 years, I want men to, if men have never seen or heard about any of our content, I want them to see something and be like, if I want to fix my life, if I want to give myself a head start and sort of give myself a jump start from where I'm at, this terrible situation I'm in, I got to go to this conference. I want this conference almost to be like I want this to be the conference version of the Rational Male. A lot of guys ask, what's the first thing I should tell my friend to do if he wants to know about the red pill? Everybody's answer universally, read The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi. That's what I want this to be. I want this to be the flagship, and I don't even want to call it a red pill conference, but I want this to be the flagship conventionally masculine conference that people the world over say, hey, you know what? Those guys are about some man shit. They're listen, yeah, we're going to talk about women, but this isn't a boot camp. This isn't a Vegas boot camp. Hey, we're going to teach you how to sleep with hot chicks in 48 hours. No. We want to build the complete man. We're going to tell you about finance. We're going to tell you about fitness. We're going to tell you how to strengthen your mind. We're going to teach you about economics. We're going to teach career opportunities, how to better use your time. We want to build the complete man. So my hope for the Conference of Masculine Excellence is to build men from the ground up. If men who have never heard of this in their lives are approached by someone, hey man, I'm going through a bad time. Hey, you know what? There's this CME that happens out on the West Coast, twice a year, maybe even 3 times a year. I think you should go, man. That guy takes a look at all the marketing materials and everything, and that guy decides to go. After he's done, after that weekend or 4 days or whatever, dude, he comes out, he's like, you know what? I'm ready to kick life's ass.
Mm-hmm. What do you hope that men will learn at the last day of the conference? When they go home and their wife, their girlfriend, their roommate, whoever, says to them, how was the conference? What do you think you would want them to say?
I wouldn't really want them to say anything. I think I'd want them to say, good, right? It was good. It was a lot of fun, just so they don't show their hand. What I hope they get out of it, what I hope the CME does, is it helps men to say, holy shit, I had the advantage. I was born a man. I win. All I have to do is not collect my winnings. All I have to do is put in the work, and I can kick life's ass. And again, that's the hopelessness thing. Guys don't understand that not all they have to do. They don't understand that they can live these lives. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, then everybody would do it. But I remember when I first found the red pill, dude, I was so excited. I was like, dude, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna do this. I want guys to be excited about life because they're thinking, oh my God, I can really be happy. I want them to go home, tell their wife, woman, whatever, yeah, it was pretty good. But I want them deep down inside to be like, yeah, life is going to be good from here on out.
Reminds me of a story of a eagle that fell out of its nest or something like that, a baby eagle. And it landed amongst turkeys, and it was raised by turkeys.
Oh, wow.
And it was just picking off the ground and never flew. And one day it looked up in the sky and saw this eagle soaring, and it said to a fellow turkey, what is that? And they said, oh, that's an eagle. And the eagle who was raised with the turkeys didn't realize he was an eagle.
Right.
He was meant to fly.
Yes, right.
Meant to soar. He wasn't meant to be just picking seeds off the ground.
Wow. That's profound, because that's who most men are today. Most men don't realize that they're eagles. Most men don't realize they already have it in them in the form of a Y chromosome to fly. Why? Because we're being raised around turkeys. Yeah. And they look up, and they and it's funny, the eagle looks up. He doesn't realize, he doesn't look at himself, be like, wait a minute, my beak is the same color, I've got the same markings, but I'm a little different from all these other people. Why can't I do what they do?
Yeah.
A lot of men don't look at that eagle. A lot of men, they look at the eagle, but then they don't look at themselves. Well, I could never do what Donovan does. He's 6'2", he's this, he's that. That doesn't matter, dude. You're a man. You already have an advantage. So again, my hope, and that's apropos. My hope for the conference is to help men to understand you're not a fucking turkey. You're an eagle. All you have to do is look in the mirror, look at yourself, and realize it. As soon as you realize that as a man you already have an advantage, the sky's the limit, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about demographics for a minute. Is there a typical CME attendee? Age-wise, race-wise, background-wise. What do you think?
My typical attendee, it doesn't matter the race. It can be, especially in this country, black, white, Asian, Latino. I mean, a lot of guys say, well, Latino men are having, no. Latino men raised in America have American problems. Yeah, okay, their skin tone might be different. They still have American problems. I think the typical attendee is probably age 28, probably all the way up to maybe 55, 60 years old, man.
Yeah.
I think so. I think race obviously doesn't matter. Our lineup clearly reflects that. I would say 28 to 55 years old. In terms of walks of life, it's going to be from all walks of life, man. People who came from humble beginnings to people who were essentially born with a silver spoon in their mouth. At some point, they figure out the truth about women. Oh, well, all you have to be is, if you're rich and good looking, then you'll have success with women. No, you won't. If you're rich and good looking but don't have this level of awareness, you're not good with women. You are a target. You're going to get finessed. Yeah, you'll get attention from women, but it has nothing to do with your masculinity. And it has everything to do with what they think that you can do for them. Rich guys have killed themselves because of problems with women. Good-looking rich guys killed themselves because of problems with women. Age definitely matters because of the cost. So I would say 28 to 55 in every race, all walks of life, man. Dude, the red pill is out there, and it doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor, in between, whatever the case may be. It affects everybody, man.
Yeah. Does the red pill give men hope?
Yeah, it does. It definitely gives men hope. And that's why I put together this conference. It gives men hope only when we also talk about our failures. There are a lot of content creators. Yeah, there's one content creator out there who said he slept with 1,300 women in 1 year. I don't even know how that's possible. But there are a lot of guys who only talk about their wins. And that's what disenfranchises a lot of men. Well, how I can't sleep with 50 girls in 50 days, or I could never just pick up and just go to, New Zealand for a weekend. No, we have to talk about our losses. We have to talk about the tough times that we endured. What gives men hope is that we came out on the other side. Okay, so the red pill gives men hope only if we are completely honest about our origin story. No man wakes up and rolls out of bed a womanizer who is rich and ripped and on all that. No, man. We got to get our hearts broken. We got to fall and skin our knees. We got to hit the gym. We got to lift weights. We have to learn how to manage money. We have to learn how to manage people. We have to learn how to manage women. That's when you're able to kick life's ass. But no man is born with all of this knowledge. So that's what the red pill sort of serves to do. We're not born with all this knowledge. And all of our speakers are in our youngest speaker, Myron Gaines, 31 years old. 31. He is by far and away the youngest. I think the next youngest is probably me, 43.
Yeah.
I'm one of the youngest speakers out here. So I want guys, the red pill gives men hope in that most of the speakers are older. And this tells them, hey, listen, I know you're 22 and I know you're frustrated, but congratulations, man. You hit the lottery. You found this community at 22, man. You know what I mean? And so when they see guys like me with a little bit of gray in my beard, they say, you know what? Okay, this is going to take some time. I have to be patient. I have to be responsible. Yeah, you know what? I can't live a life like that. I just have to be patient and have to work hard. So yeah, the red pill absolutely gives men hope for sure.
I was on a podcast this week with 2 other guys that were kind of like my age. And he did some math, and he said, on this podcast, there's over 170 years of experience and wisdom. And he took all of our ages and added them up. Have you added up all the ages of the men?
Wow. I have
and
not.
And I know, like, I never thought of it until that guy told me that.
That's
but
interesting.
Think about that.
You want to know something? That's very good math. I'm going to add up the ages of men, and then I'm going to divide it by the number of speakers that we have. And I think that will let guys know, hey, there's no such thing as a 23-year-old Bruce Wayne, man. Right? James Bond is always an old guy. There's no young hotshot James Bond. That is a very interesting perspective, and I'm definitely going to crunch those numbers. But yes, whatever the number is, I have no idea what it could possibly be. But whatever the number is, yeah, we're going to pitch that, hey, there is, X amount of years, X amount of number of years of experience. That matters, man. You don't want to give the where's 20 years experience total, between our 20 speakers. No, that's not gonna give people credibility. So when our detractors say, it's just a bunch of old guys. Okay, yeah, right. Old guys have wisdom. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Right now, there's someone watching this video, and they are debating whether to go to this.
Yeah.
They're kind of curious. And he's right there, as a matter of fact.
Right.
I want you to talk to him and tell him, give him some encouragement, and speak to his heart. He needs to be here.
Right.
How can you move him to make the right moves and get his body in the chair in that auditorium? Talk to him.
I would tell the person watching this right now, I can't make you or convince you to do anything. This is on you. And if you're going back and forth in terms of, man, do I really want to spend, $1,600 to go to this conference? Ask yourself this. Okay, ask yourself this. You've probably spent $1,600 on other things. How'd that work out for you, right? Listen, sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. It's not up to me to convince you to come to the CME. You're going to have to do this on your own. What this really takes is sort of inner self-reflection. Is my life where I really want it to be? And listen, you might actually live a half-decent life. You might have a pretty good job. You might drive a pretty good car. You might even have a pretty good house. But the average man who has a pretty good job and a pretty good car, a pretty good car and a pretty good house lives a life that's pretty shitty. Because what you need to understand is that the bottom 90% of men are invisible to the bottom 90% of women. The average man is invisible to the average woman. These are the facts. This is why women think that men cheat more than men. Well, they're only thinking about the top 10% of men. So if you want to remain in the bottom 90%, hey, listen, by all means, put your $1,600 in your pocket, continue to go to your pretty good job, drive your pretty good car, live in your pretty good house, and continue to have a pretty shitty life. But if you want to move into maybe the top 10 or 15% of men, you have to ask yourself is that worth it to you or not? Would you spend $1,600 to jumpstart your life in a direction, and in 1 year, your life is going to be better in every conceivable way, provided that you put in the work? Like, we were raised with faulty tools. You are too. This is why your life isn't where it needs to be. So now you have a choice to make. Do I want my life to be better, or do I want my life to stay the same? If you want your life to stay the same, hey, cool. Listen, chill, keep doing what you're doing. Whack off every night, complain, that you're not getting what you want. But if you want your life to improve, I think we know the decision that you need to make. But that's not a decision for me to make. That's a decision for you to make.
I like to say that a man can hear something here at the CME, Conference of Masculine Excellence, that's going to flip a switch inside of him that's going to make him be unrecognizable this time next year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Change doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Change can take a year or two. Any examples of how a man would improve by attending something like this?
It's mindset, 100% mindset, man. When somebody gives you permission to be a man, when somebody helps you to realize that you are an eagle instead of a turkey, you start to move a little bit differently, right? You start to become motivated by different things. You start to want to work out. You want to leave women alone until you're damn good and ready, until you're really ready to get out there. I think in the end, I think that a lot of men who come here, I think what they'll get out of it, they're going to get obviously tremendous value. But to me, the most important thing is mindset. Before anything gets done, before you lift weights or, better with money, whatever the case may be, it has to start up here. The Conference of Masculine Excellence is definitely going to change. We can't change your life, right? That's on you. That's what starts here. But if you change your mindset, you can change your life. And that's what we aim to do. We want to change. We want to wake men up. We want to help men understand, yes, I do have the advantage, and it all starts up here, man. That's how that change happens from one year to the next, for sure.
George Bruno talking with Mr. Donovan Sharpe, founder of the Conference of Masculine Excellence. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, George.